With the Las Vegas GP only being a couple days away because it starts on Thursday, we got to talk about the biggest headlines going into what will probably be the most chaotic weekend, really, for racing this year in Formula One. So let's start off with something spicy. This was kind of happening over the week anyways, on our off week. It was the whole entire situation with the Haas rule change. So Haas made an appeal for the Austin GP results because they wanted to get more points. Essentially, if the appeal actually ended up working, Nico would have finished 7th rather than where he did originally. This is because Checo passed the line like 26 times. Something ridiculous like that. Lance abused track limits. I think Alex Albon also abused track limits. Something along that line. Well, that ended up actually not going through for Haas, even though there was video proof of it happening. They just probably weren't correct on how they actually managed to go through with the appeal, and nothing was really brought out from it. So nothing ended up actually coming out of that, but now the FIA is set to tighten the right of review option. This is because Haas waited to make this review. The current thing is a 14-day period. They want to change it to 4 days. So you got to do it very quickly after because, listen, it's pretty ridiculous in my opinion that these appeals can happen so late for these Grand Prix. Like, imagine just like thinking this is the final result and then literally almost 2 weeks later somebody makes an appeal. This is not the final result, and then we kind of just watched the race for nothing. The ending wasn't the ending and we did not get what we came for. I hate that this is a thing. F1's got to clamp down on it. I think it's really bad that after races we get these results. It should be happening realistically within a 12-hour time period. I get there's a lot of stuff happening, but with the whole track limit, like BS, there's got to be a way to figure it out, just like IndyCar does and other motorsports. They figure out when track limits happens. Other motorsports also don't really, I guess, take into account how often they happen in Formula One because it is very important for lap time. Those sports usually aren't as close when it comes to lap times like it is in Formula One, where literally a tenth matters. So they got to figure it out. They got to make it better. It's beyond frustrating that we've had it happen a couple of times this year. Next thing is actually talking about Red Bull. They are nervous but excited for their new engine. So obviously they are working with Ford. Ford and Red Bull are working together to make Red Bull powertrains. That's what's the name of it. I mean, Red Bull Ford powertrains is essentially what it is. They're excited talking about it. Now, the whole, I guess, rumor that's going around right now is that Audi is pretty behind in their engine. Red Bull isn't far behind, but Mercedes is the top dog right now when it comes to engines in 2026. That is at least the discussion being held. These are all rumors, but you know that Mercedes makes some mean engines. If you remember 2014 with Nico and Lewis, I mean, the car was aero balanced very well, but the engine was just beyond anybody else's engine. So they are important. We'll have to see in 26 how this actually results. I know Red Bull was kind of pushing towards not having it be like this. They were saying the car is going to die out on the straights, but Mercedes was like, no, let's keep pushing this way. So I think that gives a hint as to what team is ahead, what team has been working, but Red Bull is dominating right now. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. I'm excited to see how these engines work and how they sound, because apparently the sound should be a lot better. That is something that I am excited for. Our cars don't sound necessarily amazing right now. They do sound good, but they don't sound amazing, in my personal opinion. Also recently, Jensen Button predicts 2024 upset and doubts it will go all Red Bull's way. I agree. I really think how Jensen Button is thinking, I think that we should mainly think like this. There is no way that in 2024, Red Bull wins yet again. Now, I mean, I'm just gonna go out and say it. Maybe they lose Las Vegas. They will kill in Abu Dhabi again. 20 out of 22 races, or potentially 21 out of 22 races. Like, this will not happen again. We have not had a season like this in a long time, literally since 2014. I do not believe it'll be this way anyways. I think McLaren is close enough. They have a lot in store for their aerodynamic upgrades and how to actually bring a car a lot closer. I think Ferrari is close. I think Aston is close. I think Mercedes is close. The grid is so close. There is no possible way that again, this happens. It would be tragic if this was the case. It really would be. It would be very sad to hear if Red Bull somehow, yet again, is this overpowered. Now listen, I don't mind the driver being super strong, I just want better competition. I'm not a fan of Max winning by 30 seconds. While it is impressive, I do want to see other competition. If everybody had the same car, I would love to see the competition there. I do love the tech side of Formula One, so I don't think we should have spec cars, by no means. It's also on the teams though, to be honest. Like, I think Ferrari and Mercedes failed miserably this year, and that's why we don't actually have a better battle. Red Bull succeeded, Mercedes and Ferrari failed. So they can't fail again. They got new people over there, so let's see what happens. I'm in the same agreement with Jensen Button. And again, talking about our favorite American team, the American Haas. They're actually splitting their cars, meaning that their upgrade is running spiffy. It is running beautifully, that new upgrade. As I predicted, Haas is Haas. And this is why we need Andretti in the sport, and this is why we need Haas out of the sport. Honestly, it's just sad. They brought one upgrade this year, and that upgrade comes out to work for nothing. I mainly think it's because the suspension is where their problem is, and why their tires are getting shred up. Ferrari has changed up at least a little bit of the suspension. They have an idea as to where they're pushing to for next year. They're really pushing on the suspension and the floor, and the Haas is a glorified actually. I would say it's the off-brand Ferrari, honestly. That's the best way to put it. It's like a second car, kind of like AlphaTauri with their new suspension tricks and all that stuff that's happening currently. Yes, this is kind of the whole ordeal with Haas. They're splitting the cars. Nico says the car from before, believe this, the car from before handled better than the car from now. Wow, you guys can't, man, for Haas, this is just tragic for the team, and considering that it's not working, the upgrade, 2024 is going to be yet again another miserable year for Haas. That's at least my prediction, but hopefully they prove me wrong, but I doubt it. They'd love to prove people right when making fun of the team, so that's really it for Haas. And Andretti is going to be here at Las Vegas. Talked about it in my last video. It should be discussed a little bit more. We'll have to see what happens. But for them joining as an 11th team, this team is still going to stick. I don't know how they're staying here, but they are. Another thing is talking about Max and what he's really been saying with the Las Vegas GP. He says, do my thing and be gone. He's not too excited about it. A lot of people aren't. I'm also going to cover in this that Bernie Ecclestone said that this is not Formula One and so on. I feel like we love to bash on a Grand Prix before it even happens. Baku was kind of the same thing. We talked about Baku when it was a Grand Prix. Everybody was like, wow, what is this track? This looks like garbage. And it somehow provided two amazing races. Now, it has been boring for the most part, especially 22 and 23. Well, 23, I don't even got to speak about it. But it's not a bad track. And I think Las Vegas is going to do the same thing. I think we're going to get a lot of actually fun racing here. I hope. That's my prediction. But we do tend to be pretty brutal on it. I know Max loves the traditional tracks. I love the traditional tracks way more than Las Vegas. I mean, give me Sepang any day over Las Vegas. I would take that in a heartbeat. But money talks. And speaking of money talking, they're looking to make about $1 billion. Now, the race just made a video talking about it's like a $500 million risk. And while it is, let's be honest, they're bringing Formula One to Las Vegas. This is all about the event, the entertainment. It is that type of city, the Sin City, really. Of course, they're going to make so much money off this. That is the whole goal with this whole entire Las Vegas GP. For 10 years continuing, this thing's gonna be sold out all the time. Now, while it does hold about 105,000 people, they're looking to make something along $1.7 billion of revenue. Not like just how much they're gonna make on the event with the cost. This is what the cost being out. This is 1.7 billion. And it costs them around 500 million to make it. So that is insane, and it's coming to show you that they know what they're doing from the financial side. I hope it shows us from a racing side and from a fan perspective that this will be huge, because it is the largest event in Las Vegas ever. They've never been to this magnitude. This is even huge for them, and Las Vegas is one of the cities that holds that title of just being an entertainment district as itself. So pretty crazy. 10-year deal here at Las Vegas and almost essentially $2 billion profit. Pretty crazy. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment down below what you guys think about the headlines and in general on the channel. Leave a like, subscribe. It would mean the world, and peace.